friends, my name is Kat. Welcome to my channel and today's video. So one thing I am doing this year is every month we have a video where I'm basically just reading 5 books within a romance subtrope, and I really want to see like kind of where my preference for romance books lies, because I feel like I like certain things and then I get shocked and like I have no idea what I actually like. So I want to have a better understanding of like where my preferences lie and kind of just read a few books that are very popular within these subgenres and see what's going on. First edition, I did second chance romances, and I was very pleasantly shocked to discover that I actually really liked them, because I would have told you that they were my least favorite trope, and turns out every single one of them worked for me that I read. So today we are going with one differently, I guess. One that I think I really like, just based on entirely like my favorite romance books of 2024. Most of them were sports romances, and I would not have told you that I like those. So I mean, I know that I like them, but it's also not one that I would have guessed that I like that much. And today we're just gonna kind of read a few really popular ones and, you know, just see if that holds up, see if I can really like still make that claim that sports romances are one of my favorites. So we have 5 books we're gonna read in this video, and really excited to get to these. So first off, we have Collide, which is, I believe, a college sports romance, which college romance is one thing that kind of, they're a little more hit or miss for me. So these are gonna be the ones that are a little bit more like risky in that sense. I do prefer older protagonists, so that's kind of where the issue, it could be an issue. Then we have The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. This is the sequel to The Graham Effect, which I do have right there on my shelf. Really enjoyed it. Another like college romance. I think both these are hockey too, but another college romance. This was one of my few exceptions that I really enjoy, and I am trying to prioritize continuing on in series, so that is the main goal in this one. The Striker by Anna Huang. She is an author that I really enjoy, so I'm going into this one with honestly very high expectations on how this is going to go. But this one is a soccer romance, and well, football, because it's in England, and I believe we're following it's a rival's sister as well. There is Coach by Daphne Perry, which could be a little more risky because I don't know if I necessarily like where somebody's in a position of power. That tends to be a little iffy for me, but I'm curious to try this one. And finally, The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata, which I'm really excited for because it's going to be my first book from her, and it is something that has been so highly praised by everyone I've heard about. So this makes me really excited to finally get into her stuff. So thanks for joining, and let's just dive into this video. Oof. Okay, I've definitely looked better before. I just finished off my bike ride for the day. So current training plan, I have like 2-hour-long bike rides. One of them is like today, it was more of my like speed interval session, which is very rough. So like one of them speed intervals and the other is just like endurance at like a slow/medium like level. And yeah, today was rough, and I'm about to go do my upper arm workout for the week, which, well, my upper arm pull day, I think. So I'm very much in the midst of my triathlon training right now, and you know, perfect time to be talking about sports romances, really. So while I was biking, I was reading Collide, and unfortunately came to a bit of a decision, which is that I'm going to DNF him. So I only got about 20% in, which I think, you know, I gave it a decent try. But for me, I think I'm realizing that college romances really do not work, because I have just like very much aged out at that point where I can really relate to it. And also, like, if the characters sound too mature, I can't get on board. Like, it's the same way that I really cannot read YA anymore, because it's just I'm not able to connect with it anymore, and it really just like I just get annoyed at the characters, you know, like it doesn't work for me. So I am DNFing it. I think it just like I didn't like the characters. We're following basically our female main character who's trying to apply to grad school, and her advisor sets her up with a hockey team because she's forcing her to do it about admission standards for hockey players, something about hockey players. And we're following her with the captain of the hockey team as they're trying to like, he's really against doing this. He thinks it's a waste of time, constantly just defending her because of that. And she's just like trying to get her project done that she doesn't really want to do, but she needs to do it for grad school. And yeah, the character just felt super immature. Really was not liking the main male character. He was just giving like major fuckboy vibes, and I'm sure that would have changed by the end of the book. I just didn't want to do it. So that one we're DNFing. Just really wasn't getting getting a good vibe from it. And yeah, I feel pretty fine about that. I have also started The Striker by Anna Huang. I'm really not far into it at all, but in this one, so it's football because we're in the UK, but we're following a male main character, Asher, who he's been like super popular in all of her other books. And well, not super popular, but he's been referenced in all of her other books as this like famous football star who everyone's into. And he has just been transferred to a new team, and he's fighting like crazy with I think the captain of the team. The two of them can't get along. Their fighting on field has basically caused them to lose like a world championship match, like that type of thing. And because of this, their coach is sending them to this Royal Ballet Academy to train for the summer because he wants them to do some kind of team building together. And also, I guess this is a thing that happens where it's like the RBA is kind of known for like giving training in like different ways to move your body to like athletes and different stretch techniques, that type of thing. But it just so happens that the ballerina who's going to be teaching these classes is the captain's sister. And going into the training, he sets a very, very strict thing to Asher of like, you do not touch my sister, you do not look at her, you do not talk to her, like we are only here in a professional capacity, you do nothing with my sister. And of course they're gonna get together, like, you know, that's kind of where it's going. I'm feeling decent about this one. I like really don't have enough thoughts so far about it, but I've liked a lot of the other books that I've read from her. They tend to go fairly like, I don't want to say formulaic, but they go down similar paths for all of them. Like the writing tends to be pretty in line. So like I have a feeling of where I'm going to go, but I'm at least enjoying it a fair amount so far. So I'm gonna go work out now and then read some more tonight, I guess.
Passenger side, I couldn't be your sunshine. We're up in the air, but I'm down for the ride. I couldn't be your sunshine.
I've gotten about 60-ish% into The Striker now, and I do unfortunately have to say that I'm finding it a little bit boring. So something about it just isn't really like captivating me in any way, and it's perfectly fine. The writing's good. Like I know basically every book by Anna Huang that I go into, I'm gonna have like a pretty similar experience. I'm gonna feel okay about the writing, but at the same time, I'm just finding this one like a little boring. Like the entire thing where in this summer training session, Asher and our female main character, Scarlett, sorry, I'm really bad with names in books, but they are training together exclusively now because Scarlett's brother, he was originally supposed to be there, but now they've had a family emergency and he is at home for the summer. So it's just the two of them, and they are getting closer. They're flirting. They're starting to realize this attraction between them, and this is going on perfectly fine, but it at the same time is like just also not intensely interesting, unfortunately. It is just feeling like very basic. There isn't really a lot of the hallmarks that I tend to enjoy in romances, and I think the only thing that I can kind of see, like they're gonna have to keep their romance like a secret from her brother, I think, and I guess that kind of maybe could be interesting, but I don't know, like I'm just kind of bored overall, to be very, very honest. I was supposed to go swimming this morning, but like I am feeling the most embarrassing amount of anxiety about going to the pool in my town, and I think it's a new place I've never been to, and I have this one particular type of anxiety. I mean, I have tons of others, but I know what this is. It's like I'm going into an unfamiliar situation and I don't know the rules and I'm feeling really, really anxious about going to swim because of that. And also I'm also going to blame it on the weather because I would have had to water and it's like -19 today, so that wouldn't have been super fun. So anyways, I'm gonna switch up my training plan for today and probably go for a run or something. But we did also finish The Striker last night in bed, which I'm very proud of myself for finishing it because this was a chunky book and we did really, really good in finishing it this quickly. But in the nicest way possible, I will say that this book was a bit of a disappointment. It wasn't terrible by any means. I do just feel like it was kind of boring. It was one that ended up being like, I think it was a bit over 500 pages, which there's like differing sides of me. Some parts I'm like, this is exactly what I want. I want a long book, but also like I think I have to be properly invested to really, really want a book that long, because I find a lot of times when a romance is like 300 pages, it's just not quite enough to get me like 100% addicted to it. And I always want to see so much people's lives and all of that, and you can't really do that at times with the short book. So I'm always like, I always want a longer romance, but when I'm not actually invested in it, it's really, really hard. So that was kind of my issue issue with this one is that I really wanted to like this so much more, but unfortunately I just found it boring, and a lot of the tension and the conflicts that were happening, I just didn't think they were particularly exciting to follow. And the sports act of it, like, wasn't a huge factor of this book, aside from the fact that like our male main character is on a team. Like, you know, aside from that, there wasn't too much sports parts, and he was having a rivalry with Scarlett's brother on the team, and like I feel like aside from that, it didn't really factor into the book as much as, I don't know, as much as I would like, I guess. Like, something about it was just kind of boring and went on too long. I just don't really know what else to say about it aside from that, is that I just wasn't really invested, I guess. And I'm gonna give it a 3-star. It was decent writing, decent character, just didn't really end up going where I wanted it to. So that one's done. Unfortunately, another one that was not quite as highly rated as I thought it would be. Like, I definitely anticipated that one would be so much higher. But we're going to next go into the Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy, which I'm feeling very hopeful about. I do remember enjoying the first one a fair amount, and in this one we're following I think it's a bit of an enemies to lovers, like two neighbors. They knew each other prior, but they end up moving in next to each other and have to like spend a bunch of time together. So that might be okay. It's like close proximity and enemies to lovers. Maybe that could end up working. I have noticed one other thing though, like this is for another book, but I thought that The Wall of Winnipeg and Me was on Kindle Unlimited, and apparently it is not. Quite a few of Mariana Zapata's books have been removed, which I'm not sure if it's because they're being more traditionally published. Like, I know I for sure have seen them in much more prominence in like bookstores lately, so that might be why. But I'm now on a mad dash to try and find it somewhere else. I have found the audiobook, which is, I'm not sure if that's necessarily how I want to read this. I'll give it a try, but I'm gonna try and go maybe later today and see if I can find it physically at my library, because so I have the audiobook if that doesn't work out. I'm just really trying to not buy books that I haven't already read, unless it's like an author that I know I really like and a new release that I'm anticipating, or like continuation in a series. So I'm trying to only buy things that like I've already read and loved, and not just like random one-off books for a video. So I am not planning on buying this even, and I'm really hoping that I can find it relatively quickly, because the Libby hold for the ebook was 8 weeks or so, which a little bit longer than I want, because I want to get this video up fairly soon. So worst case scenario, we do have the audiobook. I don't know if it's not my preferred way to read romance. I find I like epic fantasy audiobooks. I don't necessarily love romance ones, because I find that they just, I don't know, it doesn't work for me, I guess. But yeah, we're gonna get into the Dixon Rule now, and I'm very excited for it. To say, I am very pleasantly shocked to say that like the Dixon Rule worked so well for me. I'm giving this 5 stars. I did not expect this. I mean, like, I kind of knew that I might like Elle Kennedy. I kind of had a good feeling going into this one, but I was thinking like 4 stars at the most. So yeah, I am very pleasantly happy to say this. And yeah, I am so shocked and happy and everything. Yeah, we're following, so there is, I literally can't remember people's names ever, but female main character, she is a cheerleader. She lives in this one apartment. She is cheerleader, and she's also in this really competitive like ballroom dancing program, and that's kind of taking up her like all of her attention. And then in moves her neighbor, who is a hockey player. He is her best friend's husband's best friend, and the two of them, they've interacted over the like last year or so, and really like have butted heads at every move. He also currently has a reputation as being a bit of a player and tends to date a lot of the cheerleaders on her squad. So she has a really bad like feeling against him. But as the summer goes along, because this takes place entirely in the summer, well, not entirely, but almost entirely, which was interesting. I think this is kind of why the college aspect of it didn't bother me. So throughout the summer, they spend a lot of time together. They start getting closer, and eventually they kind of start fake dating, because they want to make his ex jealous and get her really jealous ex-boyfriend off of her back. So they pretend to be together. where part of this being together involves him coming in as her ballroom dance partner because her original partner ended up having to drop out. So he ends up competing with her for this like thing that she's really passionate about, and like they spend a summer pretending to date, but also like really working on like getting closer just because they're doing this thing, and then eventually become friends with benefits, eventually fall in love. And something about, I mean, like this one, it dealt with a lot of like really intense topics. I will say that it was not the like funny chill rom-com I kind of thought it would be. I fully cried reading this one, and it did deal with a lot of shit, and that is something that I kind of want. That's something I kind of want in my books, is that if I'm going to really enjoy a romance book, I need something a little more hard-hitting. I need something that's a little bit more like emotionally charged, something that you're dealing with like slightly harder topics. And this one did that. And I don't really want to get too much into what those were because I think that would rule it. Potentially look up the trigger warnings before going into it though. But yeah, just the emotional impact on this one, the ways that the characters dealt with it, the way that they were there and supportive for each other 100% from the beginning, even despite like not really liking each other that much. They were there for each other, and they were willing to stay by when things got really difficult and did not let them scare them off. And yeah, I loved it. This was like a perfect little sports romance for me. So 5 stars. I'm really happy. I now want to go read a bunch more of Elle Kennedy stuff, so don't be surprised if I do that. Finally found a copy of this book. I went to the library yesterday and found one, thankfully. So we're good. I'm really excited. It's pretty chunky, like romance too. It's like over 450 pages, which not gonna lie, I enjoy. I like a longer romance because I find I get like a bit more invested in what's going on. So we have that. I haven't started it yet, but I did start Coach by Daphne Perry, which I do have to say, I was going into this one incredibly scared that it would be a coach of a team and a player, which is just something I cannot get on board with because I really struggle with things where there's a power imbalance and, you know, a coach who is residing over somebody's team. But thankfully, that's not the case here. It's not. We'll make that clear. That is not the case. It is the coach of a football team, yes, but with his colleague who also happened to be his best friend's 10 years before. So that is kind of like, that's much better in my mind. They're the same age. They are pretty much on equal footing in their positions. Neither one of them necessarily has that much power over the either one, and they have like their jobs they're in both the athletic division of this college, but they don't necessarily like overlap too much, so it's okay in my mind. But we're following 2 characters. So 10 years before, when they were in university, they were best friends, and something had started where they just started to admit their feelings for each other when his ex-girlfriend came and revealed that she was pregnant, and he decided to do the right thing by her and marry her and support their child. So now it's 10 years later. He is divorced finally because he realized he's been miserable in his marriage for that many years, plus his wife at the time was cheating on him like crazy, and he has finally gotten himself out and is moving on with his life. He also for many years was an NFL player, but I guess in the last year or two had like a very severe ACL injury, and that ended his career. Now he's gotten into coaching. So he's at a college university football league, and their previous coach has just been fired because they had some crazy scandal, which it just seems like there's just a lot of like unethical things happening between this coach and underage, not necessarily underage, but like young girls and young players, and just a lot of very unethical things that we're uncomfortable with. And now the department's under crazy scrutiny, and him coming in as coach, he is also under much more scrutiny than he necessarily would. So he gets this job though and realizes that his former best friend, who he has never actually gotten over, is working in the same department. She sees him, realizes she's also never managed to move past him, and now they're very much like trying to toe that line of staying being professional at work, but realizing they still have feelings. She really was blocking him out 100% and trying to keep like the biggest distance, but really broke down and was like, no, we can be friends. We can be friends. We can move back to where we were. We can go friends. But things are gonna go on. He's also now has sole custody of his daughter, who I guess the mother was not interested. So he has sole custody of his 9-year-old daughter, and we're starting to see like a bit of a friendship between the daughter and the love interest as well, which I really like seeing. So I'm getting pretty good vibes from this one so far. Like nothing that's making me uncomfortable, which was my very big worry about this one, but I'm feeling great that the romance is nothing weird. Alright, I finished Coach, and I'm going to say this was like the most like perfectly fine book ever. It was one, it really did not deliver in like a lot of ways. It really let down in a lot of ways, just for me at least, but it was very fine, very middle of the road, and just didn't really have anything that was like spectacular. So yeah, we have the coach of this football team and his former best friend who he works with. They get together, and it was okay. The romance just didn't really do too much for me. Like, they was very clear they were into each other. It's very clear they loved each other. And then there wasn't as much tension, just in a way. Like, you could very clearly tell that they were going to find a way to make it work, and they were just going to like definitely fall in love pretty, because like they already loved each other, I guess. And I think that was just kind of my issue, is like there wasn't a lot of tension in it. They got together very quickly, and I always like when there's a little bit more of a build up. And also like it felt a little boring after they got together. Like, a lot of stuff felt like it was missing after that. Yeah, it didn't really feel super exciting, unfortunately. And yeah, I think that's my biggest issue, is that just like it ended up feeling kind of boring. So it could have been better, I guess. It didn't really do too much. It was like, yeah, very much like I would say perfectly fine, in that there was nothing wrong with it, nothing upsetting, nothing like that I was upset about. I just wanted more. Like when you have also like a single dad romance and a small town romance and all of these different things, like I just want more of it, and I'm feeling a little disappointed about it just because I'm coming out and don't really feel too much. This one was definitely a little bit different, because actually I was gonna say like it's different because this is one of the only ones I've followed where it's like a coach and a team. But when I'm thinking about it right now, like, there were very little sports in this one, like a ridiculously small amount. There was one scene where you see the main character connecting with a player from his team and seeing them kind of bond. There wasn't anything else, and that feels very lacking to me. That feels like something that it really should have been in the book more, and definitely would have like significantly helped the book, I think, if it had more of that and like a bit more emotional stuff like that. But yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, like that was very much missing, and that definitely could have helped a lot more. So yeah, this one was fine. Don't really have much else to say about it. Okay, I wanted to jump in and actually talk a little bit about this book before I get too far, because I'm, I think 30-ish% in. I'm 150 pages. Yeah, just about 30%. And I am having truly a fantastic time reading this. I am actually like really happy with myself that I'm kind of leaving this towards the end and really now giving myself like my first Mariana Zapata experience, because, you know, like I've heard so many fantastic things. So many people rave about this book, and like not just this book, but all of her books in general. And I'm really happy I'm kind of leaving this one now as the one at the end. And I think probably going to be the best book of this, because as much as I loved the Elle Kennedy book, like I think like just something about the writing on this one is already just like so elevated. So we are following Vanessa. Just wait for him to leave. Okay, so Vanessa, she is the assistant to Aiden, who is a huge football star. He is a Canadian man, and he's like really silent, kind of rude, but more in the sense of like he's just very direct and to the point, and not really willing to like, you know, he's not like a friendly guy, I guess. So she's been working for him for 2 years, and at the same time has been like deeply saving up to try and one day quit and open up like, I think kind of like a graphic design / just design in general type of business. So she ends up quitting, and well, she gives her notice and then overhears his manager talking really rudely about her, and he doesn't like defend her. So she gets offended, she quits, and is moving on in her life until like a month or two later, Aiden shows up at her door and is asking for her to come back. He keeps persisting. He comes back many times. He keeps asking for her to come back and work for him. And she's like really not into it because he keeps saying, he's like, you're like one of the only people who never really annoyed me. I could handle you. You were okay. And then eventually he finally gets to the point of like, he's Canadian. His green card is expiring. He doesn't want to get another work visa, or the green card is, I don't know how immigration works. I don't know if that's the right word, but he doesn't want to get another work visa. So he asks her to marry him, to be his fake wife so that he can stay in the country. And that's where we are right now, is she finally agrees to it because he agrees to basically pay off her student loans, which are like 150K, ouch, and buy her a house at the end of it. But the catch is she has to stay married to him for 5 years. And she agrees to it because she's kind of realized that like there's no way that she'll ever be able to like actually pay off her loans if she's not doing this. So where we are right now, they just went to Vegas, they got married, and now they are very awkwardly living together and just kind of, just about to start their married life. And I am enjoying this a ridiculous amount. So first off, I have to say, this is like the ideal plot for me. The fake marriage convenience, fantastic. That gets me every time, especially when it's like one where more of a business transaction. Love it. Like one of my all-time favorite tropes. And then you add in the fact that she was his assistant, which just adds like an awkward thing to their relationship, makes them uncomfortable. And the fact that he is this very high-powered athlete and has all of these professional obligations, all of these things, perfection. Every bit of that is exactly what I want in life. It is all like my ideal things to add into a book. So, all of those adding together, amazing. I can't wait. Like I am eating this up. Aiden, you can tell very much like he's very reserved. He's very quiet. He doesn't show emotions. He's talked a lot about how he doesn't like love people. He doesn't like let people in. And it just made me so excited to see like when he finally does, and when they finally like open up and finally like he realizes like, or admits, I guess, how much he cares about Vanessa. I can't wait. So yeah, truly loving this one. And I have like the best feeling ever about it. Okay, please tell me why it was like this far in to the book when they finally got together. And tell me also why that made this the best thing ever. Like this was the ultimate example of slow burn, and as slow as possible burn, which is my thing. I love a slow burn book and I love yearning. That is 100% what I want in a romance book. Is I want to feel like, the couple is intensely wanting each other, and that it's all they're thinking about, all they're obsessed with. And then finally there's that moment where they're able to actually get together, and that's perfection. And love this. It's 5 stars. I'm not surprised. Like genuinely, this was one of the best romances I've read in a significantly long time, and to the point where I went and downloaded like every Mariana Zapata book I could find on Kindle Unlimited. And I'm planning on reading all of them instantly, well, like as soon as I have time. Which also, please let me know if you've read any of her books, like what your favorites are, because I am excited. I cannot wait. I really want to like dive into more of her books, and I think a lot of them are sports romances, which I am excited about. Like clearly I enjoy sports romances. Like I think if this video has proven anything, is that they tend to work. And I think just a little moment of reflection, I think I really enjoy just more when we're not super focused on the sport itself, which kind of is a silly thing to say, but I like seeing the teammate aspect. I like seeing like these intense friendships that come from people being involved in sports, and just a lot of times it really creates a different dynamic. And it also, I think a lot of times, like falls into the like rich man romances that I tend to really enjoy. Like, I love a millionaire romance. I eat those up like crazy, and I find a lot of times that's what this ends up being, because it's like a very high-powered man in a high-powered position. Like, those kind of things, those work so well for me. So yeah, like I think it's just that combination of things, and just, I don't know, like a lot of times the men are depicted as incredibly like just caring and really family oriented, all these things, and I eat that up. I get so into it. I love it so much. So of course, yeah, like these work well for me. Yeah, I think we're definitely coming out of this just saying like I like sports romances, and this video definitely worked. I mean, like, we're coming out of it with 2 5 stars, which cannot say I ever expected that to happen, but I am intensely happy that it did. So there we go. We are winning something here, maybe, potentially. We're doing good. We're yeah. We're just doing good on this in general. So I'm really happy with this. I cannot believe how well this video went. And I'm a little nervous, I will say, about our next romance theme one. We are reading Mafia Romance, which, please stay tuned. It should be out later on this month. The timing of when I'm filming these things has ended up being a bit of a mess, but it should be out later this month. And hopefully we will have some good luck on that one as well. I don't anticipate it will be the 2 5 stars that we did in this one, but maybe we'll find some gems. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I would love if you would consider subscribing if you haven't already, and hopefully I will see you in a video soon. Bye.